In this video, we explore the Rodwell Trail, which was formerly part of the Weymouth and Portland Railway.
The line was opened in 1865 and closed in 1965.
So come and join us as we take you on another path to the past.
Weymouth had first become connected to the railway network in 1857.
It was during the period where the town was being transformed from a Georgian spa resort into a bustling seaside resort for the working and middle classes.
Meanwhile, Portland stone continued to be in great demand.
Therefore, a railway linking the two locations seemed to make logical sense. But when the Weymouth and Portland Railway first opened in 1865, it had to use Weymouth's one existing railway station, which meant going northwards for Portland-bound trains, which then had to shunt southwards to get to Portland. This situation continued for several decades until the opening of a separate station at Melcombe Regis, right near Weymouth Station. So behind me is the site of the Melcombe Regis railway station, which was opened in 1909. Sadly, no features remain of the original station, which is now the site of the supported living flats. But wait, we found a sculpture that was originally part of a small gateway built to commemorate the electrification of the Weymouth line. Now we are going to be doing separate videos about each of the stations on the Weymouth and Portland line, so please subscribe if you'd like to see those. This video is our initial exploration of the line from Melcombe Regis all the way up to Portland, finding what remains today. Because each of these stations has a hidden history that we shall uncover during the course of this series. The first engineering issue the Weymouth and Portland Railway had to overcome was crossing an area of water known as Backwater, which you can see on the left of this map. The initial Board of Trade inspection deemed this viaduct to be of poor workmanship, made of poor quality materials and too weak to hold trains going over Backwater, but eventually it was opened along with the rest of the railway in 1865. Today, there is a road bridge across the Backwater at a very similar place to where the original railway viaduct once ran. So continuing our exploration of what is left of the line, the first step on the other side of the Backwater was known as Westham Halt. This was also opened in 1909, the same time as Melcombe Regis Station, and as you can see, the platform is still intact today. Sadly not still intact is this signal box, which controlled the road crossing just before you reached Westham Halt. Westham Halt was built in response to two factors. Firstly, the increasing residential development of Weymouth on this side of the Backwater, and secondly, because it was very close to Weymouth Grammar School and it was heavily used by pupils coming to and going from school. It's a rather substantial stone-faced platform here today, but this was actually only built in 1946, which was 6 years before the line closed to passengers, so not a lot of forward thinking there. There was originally a timber-faced platform, also originally a corrugated iron hut for the ticket collector, but that was replaced with a stone one. But again, no evidence of that remains today. Just this lovely long platform, which was extended in 1913, I believe. Although, is this possibly the base of that waiting shelter? Let us know if you have any local specialist knowledge. Also, if we head to where probably the station entrance was, we can find this metal post, probably a gate that gave entrance to the station.
This wall at the back of the station has this lovely mural on it.
Probably many a grammar school child has walked through there. Don't know what that metal bit is there. The platform edging seems to have been removed at some point and probably repurposed. Continuing our journey southward along the old track bed that is now the Rodwell Trail, the next thing we come to before we hit Rodwell Station is the remains of a Second World War gun emplacement.
So I used to live in Weymouth many years ago and loved it, and I'm really sad to see how much graffiti is on these special places of interest. It's really quite sad to see. If you look, it's just spray paint, even on the lampposts.
It's not even art, is it? You can't say, oh, it's quite attractive and shows quite a lot of skill.
No, this is just vandalism, really, isn't it? When you see, you know, sort of genitals on. Yeah, it's just disrespectful. Very disrespectful. Very sad.
500 metres into what is now the Rodwell Trail. You can see a nice little bit of genuine art there of the anti-aircraft emplacement. Just there, and that's there. Very high embankment at this spot on the line. If we look over here, I would say that's a good 30-foot drop down there, down to an area called the Marsh. Well, I guess when this line was opened in 1865, most of those houses wouldn't have been there. The Marsh would have been probably the Marsh. These look, yeah, later 1800s, don't they?
Yeah.
So at this point of the line, going up from Westham Halt to Rodwell Station, we do have a little bit of an incline. It's not totally flat, this trail. So we have the Rodwell Tunnel here. Lots of the brickwork still in place on this side and on the upside too. Been reconditioned inside, yeah. The spray painting fraternity being out here too. None of the original brickwork or tunnelling works to the left. Right, very short tunnel this as we emerge into the light, probably about 80 yards in length. I think this took Wyke Road, I think I read, over the line. Oh, we're not even 100 yards after the tunnel, we emerge onto Rodwell Station. Platform on both sides here, I think. Upside and the downside. If you're enjoying the content on this video, please consider giving it a like.
And if you'd like to consider subscribing, it's absolutely free.
We're a new channel on YouTube looking to expand and bring you videos about all types of history. Rodwell Station opened in 1870. This would have been the view from the bridge we've just walked under, which you can see at the top of this map. You can more clearly see the relationship between station and bridge on this 1909 photograph. As I've said, we'll be doing more detailed investigations and videos on each of these stations, so look out for those in the coming weeks and months. The down platform heading off towards Portland still in very good condition. I'm currently walking on was initially 100 feet in length, but it was extended considerably in 1894. Entrance to the station was via a ramp situated on Wyke Road. And such care was taken of the station that it frequently won awards for the best kept station in the Great Western Railway area. Close look at the down platform here. We can see a difference in stonework there. I wonder if this was extended at some point. We'll be doing more detailed videos about each of the stations along this line, looking at some of the personalities, some of the events associated with them. So this is the preliminary walk to explore. And we still have some original stonework here from the back of the platform. A little bit of a contrast here. This is the down platform on the way to Portland, and this has quite large stone. Over here we have the up platform. You can find a bit that isn't too overgrown. The up platform going into Weymouth. If I'm guessing, this might be a later construction made out of bricks, but we'll try and find the dates when these two platforms are built. We know work had begun on the second platform by 1908. And you can see it here on this 1930 map and the extent of both platforms, and there being two lines. So we're now 1,000 metres into here. Unfortunately, whatever art was put into place here for people to enjoy and appreciate has been gouged out. And both platforms continue on for some considerable length. Back to the tiered stonework here, so maybe that bit along there that had flatter stonework was just a repair. But yeah, it goes on for some considerable length on both sides. I believe I'm right in saying this was the only intermediate station on the line between Weymouth and Portland where full trains actually stopped. The rest were temporary halts put in as Weymouth grew, the population grew, and the railways tried to compete with road transport But eventually road transport won out because buses ran every 20 minutes. I think there were something like 8 or 9 trains a day running in each direction here.
It's a strange sensation when you leave Rodwell Station. It's like a subtropical landscape.
Like a dripping well. The Dorset flag. Yes, you wouldn't think here you're on the outskirts of a busy seaside town in high summer, would you? The next major feature we come across is this lovely 3-arched red brick bridge. It runs over Buxton Road, I believe. Sadly, this bridge is yet another victim of graffiti. Such a shame. Wonderful old structure. Such a magnificent piece of engineering. (1,500 meters in), that is, what is that? Moth?
Butterfly.
Butterfly. Can tell this is a history channel, not a nature one. So after the considerable slope up to Rodwell Station, we're now on a downslope, aren't we, as we approach the next station on the line, which was...
It's Sandsfoot.
It is, Sandsfoot Castle.
Sandsfoot.
Sandsfoot Castle Station was opened in the 1930s in the hope of increasing tourism to the area.
That's right, it was only actually in operation for 20 years because the line closed to passengers in the 1950s. So yeah, this station only operational for about 20 years. And I don't think the hopes that the tourists would flood into the castle were realised. Oh dear, 1 mile in. More attempts to make this trail look nice, dealt with by vandals.
Very, very sad.
So yes, Sandsfoot Castle and Gardens, which you can see here. A tourist attraction just off the Rodwell Trail. The castle was built by Henry VIII, well, not him personally, but under his orders. There's another one just opposite on the Isle of Portland, across the bay there, and it was built to aid the defence of Henry's realm. Lovely place for a stop off if you are walking the Rodwell Trail. There's a cafe and these beautiful gardens. It's just the railway company thought if they could get people off the buses and build a train halt right near this tourist attraction, it would increase passenger traffic on the line. The station consisted of one timber platform and this little waiting shelter you can see here. We did come off the trail and we did find this bridge. (4.2 metre clearance or 13 feet and 9 inches in old money. What does this say? HV cable, high voltage, I guess. We're now at the site of the Sandsfoot Castle Halt. As we said, only operational for about 20 years and never got round to a stone or brick platform. It was made of wood, and I think this is, this is it here. There we go. The remains of what was the temporary Sandsfoot Castle Halt. Yeah, about platform height there. Well overgrown at this time of year. Oh yes, a little bit more there. Appears to be a bit stone, little bit behind it there. I think they only ever got to having like shack type shelter here. No proper station to speak of. Not sure if this is the end of the platform or something that's been built more recently, just as a little walkway up to the garden door there. What I read later, these have been put in over the sides of the platform to keep it from collapsing. Site of another former display board. A post at 2,000 metres, and this one is intact. We must have some Henry VIII fans around here who've decided not to scour this one out. At this point on the journey, passengers would have been afforded wonderful views across Portland Bay. It's the Isle of Portland in the distance. And the next stop on the line is Wyke Regis Halt, again built in 1909, and again something to do with growing industry in the area. more specifically a torpedo works. So from the deep cutting and ravine of Rodwell and the scenery around there, we come to a different aspect of scenery, probably regarded as the most scenic part of this line. Look at that, even more beautiful on this lovely summer's day. Just approaching Wyke Regis Halt, another small station or halt that could only deal with motorised rail cars instead of full trains. 2,500 metres. I'm glad to see that a lifeboat hasn't been vandalised. And next we have Wyke Regis Halt. Seems to have had a layer of concrete added at some point here. You can see the original breeze blocks underneath that. And the platform continues on into the undergrowth. Another halt established as the population of Weymouth grew, and this became a suburb, and the thought people might want to use the train to get into town. The halt was also used by people working at the Whitehead torpedo factory, which you can see at the bottom of this map, and you can see the halt just at the top there. Yes, this became a very burgeoning business in the years leading up to the First World War and continued to be so right through to the latter half of the 20th century. Glimpses of it through this dense undergrowth. Lovely. A leaf. I know that much about nature, that's a leaf.
Although some of that looks like it's gouged out, or like
It has, yeah.
that's been gouged out, unless it's rotted. This is wood.
At the time of its opening, Wyke Regis Halt had 9 rail cars stopping on weekdays. There was also a light railway which ran along this pier where torpedoes were taken out and tested in Portland Harbour. You can see that pier in the centre of this photograph. Access to Wyke Regis Halt was from the torpedo workers' cottages and down that slope you can see on the left. The line then carried on across a further viaduct across a small bay called Small Mouth, before reaching Portland, and that is where we shall begin the second part of this series. After exploring the Rodwell Trail, we did pay a short visit to Portland to see what we can find, but if anybody has any knowledge of where we should look to explore the rest of the Weymouth and Portland Railway, then please log on to YouTube and comment below, because we shall be returning to the area in the near future and would love to know all the things we might be able to find up on the Isle of Portland.
So we hope you can join us next time where every journey begins with a path to the past.